So I'm officially on summer vacation now, so I figured why not do an inbox video to kick off summer break. And you guys had some pretty good questions in my opinion. We're going to start off with this one from Tyler Tesla. This may be a bit random, but I have a two-part question. First, what are the biggest pitfalls that people should avoid in life? Lately, it seems I'm stumbling into all of them. Second, lately I'm seeing a lot of times where I showed selflessness and consideration to people now bite me in the ass and I regret it later on. What should I do about times it does bite me in the ass? How to avoid it in the first place, but also when you're kind of unsure but things are looking like they're going to bite you in the ass. Thanks for reading. So for the biggest pitfalls part, I would say there's really three that I could think of. Number one is neglecting your health. Now, necessarily, you don't have to become like a power lifter or like, a bodybuilder or something like that. But I think staying in good shape ultimately lets you age better, you feel better, you navigate life better. And if you really let yourself go, it is really hard to get off that and, start to exercise and get healthy again. So I think staying up with your personal health is number one. And a lot of people fall into that. They eat super unhealthy, they don't exercise. And that ends up lowering your quality of life and lowering the things that you can do in life. Another one is keeping up with the Joneses. This is more of a financial one. The whole fake it till you make it. People putting themselves in debt to show the illusion that they're not broke or something like that, or that they have money. That is definitely something to avoid. I would say most people do not care about what you're doing. They only care about themselves. So don't blow your money. Don't try to, keep up with your neighbor if they got a new car. Live your life. Be financially responsible. Then the third one, I would say surrounding yourself with people that, you don't fully vibe with. Whether that be dating someone or a friend circle or people at work. I feel like a lot of people force themselves to hang out with people that they don't really fully get along with. And I would say just keep your circle close and have people you truly trust around you. And then for the second part, with showing selflessness and consideration to people, I would not worry about that. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by it biting you in the ass, but I think it's a good thing to be a good person. It's a good thing to be selfless. It's a good thing to be considerate. Now, obviously not to a fault. You have to, have a little bit of a spine for yourself and stand up for yourself. But usually if you showed consideration and kindness to people, and they are, treating you with the opposite of that, I would just say those are people to avoid and not be around. But, always stand up for yourself, have a backbone, have a line you won't cross past. But I would say there's going to be a time when you do meet the people that your selflessness and consideration is, well regarded, and it'll treat you right. So don't change who you are for that. And no, some people are just assholes. That's the biggest thing. But stay being a good person, and if someone is, being an asshole to you, I would just ignore it. Nomadic Strength asks, serious question, how do you navigate dating someone who has a different life path than you, but every other box is checked? Girl I'm dating wants kids, I don't. It's very simple, right? Break it off. But dude, everything else fits like a glove. We agree politically, spiritually, everything. Could use some advice. Non-serious question, what race in the Halo universe would you be? I'd be a skirmisher personally. For the non-serious question, I assume a human is not counted in this. I would be an elite, straight up. I think they're awesome, or a brute, one of those two. But the serious question, that is one of the really hard life paths to not agree on, to be honest. Some of those other ones you said, like politically and things like that, you can stretch that and make that work, but the kids one that's a big one, because it's not fair for either party. It wouldn't be fair for her who wants to be a mom to not be able to have children. And it wouldn't be fair for you if you don't want kids to have a kid. But what I would say, I'm not sure how old you are. I always tell my friends, because we're all in our mid-30s, early 30s, stuff like that. A lot of my friends have kids, and a lot of my friends say they don't ever want kids. And I'm someone, I do want kids. I don't have any right now, but I do. I think a lot of people, when they hit their 40s, will regret not having a kid. But I would honestly sit down with her and really have that discussion. I would really sit down and think with yourself, do you really not want kids? Because it is a very big thing, and having a child is the biggest thing you can do in life. Again, like I said, I'm not sure quite how old you are in this, but if everything else fits perfectly, I would say, why would you not want to have kids with her? But I know everyone's, different with, wanting kids or not. But yeah, I would sit down and have a really good conversation with her. I'd look at yourself and see, do I really not want this? But yeah, that's a tough one to get past. That's probably the toughest one to get past for, a different life path. But yeah, I would sit down and have a great conversation with her. I hope it works out if everything else fits like that. But that is a tough one, man. I hope it works out for you. I hope I helped a little bit. It's a tough one to have, but yeah, really, like I always say, communication is key. And really think about it. Don't break it off right away. Really think about it between the two of you and make a well-informed decision that you're both okay with. Chaos Animate says, what made you want to become a teacher, and what would you say is the most rewarding part of the job? I wanted to become a teacher because I had a ton of incredible teachers that impacted my life from elementary school all the way up till college, and I wanted to keep that tradition going. Having, teachers that care really helps a child grow and really helps them learn, or, an adult for that matter, in college and high school. But the most rewarding part of the job, I would say, is seeing the growth your students make educationally and personally. You really, if you're a teacher that really cares, you really get to know these kids. Like, you spend, not just when they're in your classroom, but, they'll come back and visit, and, they'll tell you things going on in their lives, and seeing the growth they make as people is absolutely incredible. When they say, like, hey, you really helped me through this, you gave me great advice, I appreciate it, you made school fun, and then just seeing them educationally. Like, let's say you're teaching a kid math and they got the big state test coming, and they're just not understanding a concept, and they're doubting themselves, and at the last minute, it clicks, they understand it, they do incredible on the test. It is really rewarding to see the success of your students on a personal level and on an educational level. So that is the most rewarding part, is by far the growth of your students. Streamhacks asks, what is your favorite soundtrack across all the Halo games? Love your stuff, dude. Mine would either be An Amberclad from Halo 2 or Warthog Run from Halo 3. Absolutely love those two tracks. I appreciate you watching the videos. My favorite track is probably High Charity from Halo 2. I absolutely love that. It just, when I hear that, that's just the sound of Halo to me. So it's definitely High Charity. Dave asks, I'm currently doing my exams right now, and I've got about 2 or so more months left of school before I graduate here in Australia. Not sure how to feel about it. Most of my family and friends' opinions are pretty split down the middle, either between loving it, that it ended, or missing the feeling of going to school and being with friends. What did you feel when you graduated? Were you glad it was over, or did you miss it? And once again, thanks for the videos. They're great to watch, and I get a smile every time I see an upload from you. I appreciate you watching the videos, and I'm glad that you enjoy them, so I appreciate that. How did I feel when I graduated? And you're not sure how to feel about it. So I'm assuming you're speaking about high school, not college, I'm assuming. You are going to feel both of those feelings. And at the time, I was happy it was over and I was ready to be an adult, because I feel like when you're a teenager, and especially, younger than that, you just want to become an adult so bad. You're gonna, you think, oh, it's amazing. But when you are an adult, you do sometimes miss the simplicity of high school and, being a teenager. Like, you didn't have to worry about bills. You had people to lean on fully, because when you're an adult, it's fully on you, and you have to, make stuff happen. So there are times that I do miss, hanging out, playing Halo with my friends, and really that was the only thing that mattered. But I am glad it's over. I'm glad I'm an adult. I'm glad that I don't have to go to school anymore, I'll be honest with that. So you will feel both depending on the times. You'll remember the nostalgic times and kind of, blank out the bad times. So I would say you're probably going to end up feeling split down the middle. But adulthood is a great thing, so I would look forward to it. And congratulations on graduating, man. That's a big step. So Woods Gump asks a pretty tough question. It'll take a while. I have a genuine question to ask about video game audiences. Do you think there's an age gap between older and newer fans of Halo? For example, growing up in the 2000s and 2010s, I personally enjoyed Halo 4, 5, and even Infinite. I have fond memories playing them with friends, but I've noticed that some old fans seem to be more critical of these newer titles. Do you think it's because they aren't as open to change or evolution in the series, unlike Doom fans who are generally seem to embrace the recent entries? Thanks, keep up the videos. Thanks for watching the videos, I appreciate you. You're someone I recognize in the comments all the time. Do I think there is a bias between old and new Halo fans? 110%, and it's probably not for the same reasons as Doom fans, because Doom, while they've updated the gameplay, has stayed true to Doom in every sense of the word, with story, art direction, everything. And the Doom games, the newer Doom games, are very high quality games that are fantastic. When you look at Halo 4, 5, and Infinite, they've made such dramatic changes in art direction, story, gameplay. They've completely changed what Halo is. And they haven't really released great games, like a full package. Halo Infinite, everyone was feeling optimistic because they went back to that classic Halo art style that we love. Like Halo 4 and 5 does not even look like Halo, in my opinion. And Infinite, they were excited because of the art direction, and I do think Infinite could have been a good game. But again, they released a completely incomplete game, if that makes sense. Just an incomplete game. Lack of content, modes that Halo is known for. Then Halo 5, they took the gameplay a little bit too wild, and I do think some older Halo fans are too stringent with it has to stay the exact same gameplay. There is room to evolve the formula and still make it seem and play like Halo. I don't think Halo Infinite was that bad gameplay-wise, besides the aiming. I don't know what is going on with the aiming magnetism with it, but that's what it is. Even small changes it's not a small change, but making the Forerunners not be humans, something that was very obvious from the Bungie games. And, they've even come out and said it. They've, decided to say, screw it, we're changing everything. So while Doom has stayed, in line with what Doom is, 343 has taken Halo and pulled it into all different kinds of directions, art style, gameplay, and story. And they just have released bad games where Doom hasn't. So that's where I think the divide is. We just want a good Halo game that stays true to what we want, and newer Halo fans that didn't grow up with the old games don't have the same investment and attachment that the older fans do. So Tyler Mack asks, have you ever struggled with any addictions? Could be anything. Fun question, what is your favorite Star Wars game? Mine is probably the original Battlefront or Lego Star Wars. I personally haven't really struggled with any addictions. I think the biggest struggle I've had is just anxiety in my life, but I personally haven't. Then fun question, what's your favorite Star Wars game? I do love both the Battlefront games and Lego Star Wars. Battlefront 2 on the PS2 and OG Xbox is fantastic, but my favorite Star Wars game is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. It's still my favorite Star Wars story. I really hope this, remake of it that's supposedly coming out actually exists. But yeah, KOTOR is my favorite Star Wars game. That Cobalt Spartan. Alright, I got a question for you. Do you think the machinima community is dying out, or does it have to do with the current landscape of the internet? I think the machinima community is dying out. I think a lot of people, as they get older, just don't want to do that stuff anymore. They got a lot of stuff going on in their lives that they probably didn't have back in the day, like kids, probably more stress at work. And I do think it does have something to do with the current landscape of the internet. The internet is not the same place it was back in the day, and it's pretty fucking boring now, to be honest. So I think it's a little bit of both, but mainly because they just got stuff to do now. Aaron White, can you do an overview of Sangeli culture? I cannot do that on this video, but I'm fairly certain Hidden Xperia probably has a video for you on that. It Wasn't Me says, a long time no see, no streams lately. Anyway, what does your perfect Halo game look like? Would it be a mix-up of all the Halo games, or would you go back to basics? It's funny because we were talking about new and old Halo fans and stuff. I'll probably start streaming more than I'm on summer break. I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands. But I feel like my perfect Halo game would be Halo 3 gameplay, but with just more weapons. You know, I love the grapple hook from Halo Infinite. Just an evolved form of Halo 3, and that would be my perfect Halo game. So I guess maybe a little bit of a go back to basics, but yeah, something like that, if that makes sense. Halo 3, but with more equipment and new weapons and things to spice it up. Eli asks, any thoughts on the Asus Xbox handheld rumored to be slated for release sometime in 2025? I might actually start doing more like video game topics on, you know, once a week. I'm not sure, like, I don't know if you want just life stuff, but my thoughts on it, I think if that thing releases, it is going to epically bomb, because the ROG Ally, I don't even think has even sold 1 million units. The Steam Deck has only sold like 4 million units. The handheld PC market, while it's cool, I feel like is a very niche thing, and ROG Allies are not cheap. And I think the Switch 2, just the pre-orders, have already outsold the Steam Deck and ROG Ally and that Lenovo Legion Go combined. So if they do that and they try to release this thing for $700-800, that is gonna bomb hard. So I don't think it's a very good product. I think it looks hideous from the leaked picture. I'll have the picture shown as I'm speaking about it. But yeah, I think this is going to be a failure if they release this thing. And I actually heard they've possibly paused the idea of it, which is good. Go back to the drawing board. Xbox needs a lot to regain market status with their consoles and stuff. Barragond asked, if you could pick a genre, type of media, or games that have been mostly a detriment to the next generation, you could change it overnight, what would you choose? I think it is definitely short-form content. Has rotted kids' attention spans, especially when they have like the 2 videos and all that stuff. And I don't know if this counts, but just social media in a whole. Like, I'm not a big, I don't really count YouTube as social media. I know it kind of is. But yeah, short-form content and social media has destroyed kids' attention spans and stuff, and, you know, given kids anxiety. It's been a mess, so I would change that. The final question, Koba, the ASMR biker, asks, what are your thoughts on fan-made games, Twisted Metal 5 and Ashes 2063, which I highly recommend you check out. I have not played those games, so I don't really know. I've played Twisted Metal before, but not Twisted Metal 5. Fan-made games. I really enjoy fan-made games. I think there's some Halo fan-made games that are coming out that look great. I really enjoy the Sonic fan-made games a lot. Those are incredible. Like the 2D side-scrolling Sonic games they make are great. So I'm a fan of that. I love when fans can get their hands on things and really, you know, make their passion for an IP shown. But yeah, that's what I think. I think they're fantastic. So that'll be it for the inbox videos. Thank you for sending in all your questions. There are some pretty good questions, pretty hard-hitting questions, and some funny ones as well. I'm on summer break, so I'm excited to, you know, hopefully be able to stream a little bit. Maybe if I do, I'll let you know in the community post. Like I alluded to in one of the questions, let me know your thoughts on if I did, like, you know, maybe one week do like something talking about video games. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to only be about, you know, serious life topics. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in. I'd love to do that as well. But thank you for watching the videos and everything like that, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, guys.